Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with the first episode reaction to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the series. So, this is a poll show, for those who may not know. This was chosen in the most recent poll, and yeah. So, once we are done with this, no matter how it ends up going down, we will be going more than likely right back to uh, Vox Machina. Unless I end up not liking this a lot right off the bat and we drop it with episode one, in that case we'll just end up holding another poll. Or episode two or whatever. As long as we get through a good amount of the series or finish it. But I don't see this happening to where we're going to drop it because I have seen the original YouTube videos that this is based on. I watched them not when they first came out, but kind of at a big point in their popularity where everyone was talking about them. And soon they started to come out with a couple more after that. And yeah, I continued to watch. It's I've seen all the ones that are on YouTube, and I'm interested to see how they're going to do a series out of this. I assume that the original creators and voices and everything are back in this. I assume that it's going to mostly be the same kind of content, the characters are on a children's program kind of thing, and then it goes horribly dark and everything with a lot of gore and just dark themes and whatnot coming in. I assume it's going to be very much the same kind of thing. But the question is, how do you make one of the, even just how do you make an episode, a full 22 or so minute episode out of the concept of this? Because they don't run that long. Let me look up real quick just to be sure exactly how long they go in the normal YouTube videos. I'm scared. Okay. So let's actually find one of the episodes rather than the little shorts they had. Okay, so it looks like they're a few minutes each, from what I'm gathering. About 4 minutes or so each. Some might be a little longer, I'm trying to see here. Yeah, number 4 was 5 minutes long, for example. Number 8, I guess. No, that must have been an episode. Yeah, because that's even shared to a different channel. Number 3 was 6 minutes. So yeah, about 3 to 6 minutes or so, within that range, basically. And yeah, I'm just wondering, how do you make a full 22-minute episode out of something that's normally 5-6 minutes? Because the putting in an actual plot to this, I feel would take away from what the series is. The series is not meant to be a plot-driven thing. It's meant to be just kind of a children's program where it starts off trying to teach you a lesson, but things start getting weird. Things start not making a lot of sense, and eventually things is just completely hit the wall and go off the rails and become scary. That's the point of it. But trying to tie that into 20 minutes, I don't know how they're going to do that. Yeah, a lot of children's programs on TV are about that length and everything. A lot of children's programs, this is obviously based off more the preschool programs, the stuff like Bob the Builder, Dora the Explorer, not the actual shows. So it's even so, it's even with a half an hour episode, or again 22 minutes without commercials or so, for one of those shows, it's usually there's some kind of underlying theme or goal within those shows, like Bob the Builder trying to build something or whatnot, whatever. Dora the Explorer, exploring and trying to get somewhere, usually. Um, the commercials break it up, and it ends up being like, oh, there's these little, like with Dora the Explorer, like little puzzles to solve. I think Bob the Builder had that kind of stuff too. Um, and then like stuff like Barney would have like songs and whatnot. Blues Clues would have songs, but also like little segments of the episode. Like, oh, we're gonna spend this episode reading the mail. This part of the episode reading the mail. This part of the episode we're going to skidoo into a picture. It's like, how are they going to do that with this show? Because this doesn't really seem like that kind of, based off the YouTube stuff, doesn't really seem like that kind of series. But I guess they're going to like revamp it in a way for this. They're going to update it in a way to where it feels like more of the actual, like an actual full episode rather than like a little short thing. But that raises questions. Will it take longer to get to the scary stuff? Or will that be more prevalent? Will it have different segments? Like what are we going for here? I'm just not sure how this is going to transfer over in terms of format. But I guess we'll see. That is my biggest worry. I believe the original creators are attached to this. Um, so I'm assuming it's going to have the same kind of vibes. I just don't know exactly how it's going to fit the format. Um, I don't know. We'll find out though. We'll see. And we'll come back here afterwards and talk about it. So yeah, like with everything, we do have to redirect this. So let's get on with that and check out the episode. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, with the original, I guess you could still call them episodes on YouTube, the ones that are like, again, like 4 to 6 minutes long or so, they all had a very specific formula. The episode started off with kind of like this kids show kind of thing, and the characters would be learning about like time or something, or some kind of like abstract idea that they teach kids in these shows that is just super simplistic in the way they talk about it, you know? But then, like partway through, it just suddenly shifts and becomes darker, and it starts going into like some heavy shit, gets really intense, a lot of gore and violent imagery and whatnot. And then at the end, it just kind of closes out with moving on and all. And that's the formula that all of those went through. The problem with extending this to about 22 minutes for an episode, for like a regular show like this, is that format can't work. Because if you just extended that format's length, you would have, I don't know, like 10 minutes of just trying to like teach this little like children's lesson and everything, and then like let's say another 10 minutes of it going completely off the rails, and then like a couple minutes at the end to just kind of close everything out. And it's like, the problem is, by extending those, it takes away the impact of it, because it's just there's too much time dedicated to each. They work in the YouTube videos because they're quick. It's like you're getting through the lesson part, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, as you're just starting to get into it, it just suddenly shifts and becomes freaky. And the freakiness doesn't last an inordinate amount of time either. So with this, they decided, I don't know if the entire series is going to run this way, but with this first episode, they clearly decided to try out a different format and kind of go back and forth. It starts off with them at the house just kind of trying to figure out what to do, and then you just get the introduction of the briefcase. And this is how a lot of it went in the YouTube ones. You get the introduction of the briefcase, starts bringing up the idea of jobs, and you have a song, you have different jobs they can do, but there's like little hints that some of them are like a little off and everything. And then they get to a job. The only problem is, this is the point where it should start getting weird and start really getting like going off the wall and then ending. But instead, they extend it and make it so that you just start to experience the job and everyone starts to like get their roles and everything. Yellow guy becomes a normal line worker. Red guy somehow ends up becoming upper management. And the bird or duck or whatever you want to call him, I've never really understood what his name is supposed to be. But either way, he's just kind of the asshole who's just bitching about everything until the end, of course. Well, until the end, but he doesn't stay in that state for too long, but we'll get to that. And at first it just seems like a factory line job, and it's just like it's a little robotic, which is definitely the joke they were trying to go for. But it's like there's nothing really inherently like freaky about it or anything, and it just keeps kind of going like that. You just see them like kind of settling into things, and it's just honestly, I was bored. That's the biggest issue. When you're doing it this way and you're just setting all this up, it gets boring after too long. It's like I was just waiting for the shoe to drop. I was waiting for the insanity to start, and it just was not coming. I was bored. But then we get finally things start to get weird. Things start to like change and show some insanity. And it's like it's at that point it's just kind of too late. It's like it showed a couple weird things at first, but nothing like really that bad. Just a little weird and just a little off. It only actually gets like notably like don't hug me, I'm scared like at the very end, like after Bird steps back out of the elevator, after he's been brainwashed, reprogrammed. Well, honestly, in the elevator is where it really starts to get weird with the hound, the care hound. But then after that, it's like that's where it's like, oh, he steps out, he's suddenly 40 years into the future. And shit's starting to like show as being like these two, red guy and yellow guy, have kind of wasted their lives in all of this. They've kind of just become cogs in the machine. And yellow guy like got married, had a kid, and is now retiring. The red guy is the president of the company, I guess, and somehow has the name, even though it was already named that when he got there. I don't know how that's all supposed to work, but and it's like, and it starts to get freaky, obviously, like when the bird. I'm just gonna call him Bird for now. When Bird causes an accident and yellow guy gets his hand shredded and everything, and it starts like everything goes into panic mode, and it's like, oh hey, we're finally getting it to, oh no, it's over. The actual freaky stuff comes in at the very end, and then it's just gone. It's so short. There was so much needless build up to it that most of the episodes just ended up being boring. And once it actually started getting interesting, it was barely there for any of that. And it could just be the first episode, but this is so bad compared to the YouTube stuff. Like this was actively just not good. And it's just I didn't get it. It like even for the weaker ones of the YouTube episodes, It's like they were still so drastically better than this. The pacing issues are the biggest issue with this for sure. It doesn't work if it's paced the way it was. Like I understand it's really hard to do like this series in a different pace and format than you're used to. But it's like that was just not good. It wasn't well paced, it wasn't well handled. And even when it did get freaky, it's like it wasn't freaky enough. It like wasn't like don't hug me, I'm scared levels. It just it felt tame, it felt weak. It just didn't work for me. And maybe that's just me. I will acknowledge maybe that's just me. But to me this was barely like the don't hug me, I'm scared that I'm used to. And it's disappointing. Now I'm gonna give it at least one more chance. If episode 2 is as bad as this one, though, we're definitely dropping it. And if episode 2 is as bad and we do drop it, then we'll just hold another poll at that point, because it won't have been enough time since Vox Machina to really count that. We'll hold another poll, probably with just the two that weren't selected last time, Kaleidoscope and Hellbound. Um, but we'll hold another poll with those two, and like whichever one wins will be put on, and hopefully that one will do better for me than this. But maybe episode 2 will also prove me wrong. Maybe it'll save it for me and end up being really good. Maybe it was just the first episode. So I'm willing to give it another chance. But like I said, that first episode was actively bad, I would say. It's not just that it was weaker than what I'm used to, it was bad. So I'm hoping that was just the first episode. I'm hoping I was wrong. We'll see how it goes, because I didn't enjoy that at all. But we'll see. So, tell me in the comments below, though, what did you think of this first episode of the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared series? And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.